Alyssa Milano wrote an open letter to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Listen, dear Congresswoman Greene, let's skip the pleasantries. They were never your thing anyway. So you've suddenly discovered that Donald Trump, the man you treated like a messiah, is not loyal, and that the MAGA movement is not safe, not sane, and certainly not rooted in anything constitutional. And you're shocked that he's attacking you, endangering you, calling you a traitor, as if you didn't know he had it in him. Please. Here's the part you don't get to skip. You helped create this monster. You fed it. You protected it. You celebrated it. And now that it's finally turning on you, you want sympathy, understanding, a moment of national concern. No, absolutely not. Nope. You don't get to unleash political poison into the bloodstream of American politics and then act surprised when it reaches your own veins. You don't get to cheer on Trump while he smears, threatens, and dehumanizes everyone in his way, and then clutch your fake pearls when he finally does it to you. You don't get to empower a movement built on conspiracy, cruelty, and violence, and then cry foul when you become its latest target. Let's be honest. You calling for the release of the Epstein files isn't courage, it's fear. You don't suddenly care about truth or justice, and you are calling for the release of the Epstein files because you're afraid of what unchecked power looks like when it's no longer aimed at your enemies. The Epstein case is a perfect cultural lightning rod, and your supporters love that shit. You saw the polls and are reacting accordingly. Jump off the sinking MAGA ship. Am I right, MTG? Now you're talking about accountability and transparency. Where was the energy on January 6th? Where was your outrage when Trump indicted a mob to storm the Capitol? When they hunted Democratic lawmakers through hallways? When they called for the hanging of the vice president? When police officers were beaten, crushed, and traumatized doing their jobs? Where was your moral clarity, MTG? Where was your voice when Democratic governors were receiving kidnapping threats? When election workers and doxxed and terrorized? When a man broke into Nancy Pelosi's home with a hammer and nearly killed her husband? When threats against Democrat judges, school boards, and public servants skyrocketed? You said nothing. And this isn't new behavior. You chased a Parkland school shooting survivor, David Hogg, down a Washington sidewalk, taunting him and calling him a coward. You screamed through President Biden's State of the Union address like you were the most unprofessional person ever to be elected into office. You voted against the Frederick Douglass Human Trafficking Prevention and Reauthorization Act, one of only 20 members of Congress to oppose a bipartisan bill designed to help trafficking victims. You amplified QAnon's conspiracies. You suggested school shootings were staged. And while Democrats were being targeted, when a militia plotted to kill or kidnap Governor Whitmer, and when Governor Josh Shapiro's house was set on fire in an arson attack with his family inside, you offered no outrage, no sympathy, no defense of democracy. I could go on, but I think you get the picture. Congressman, I'm not buying it. If you want redemption, if you want to step into the light, there's only one door. Public, unequivocal accountability. Not the performative kind with hair and makeup, not the Trump hurt my feelings kind, not the victimhood you perfected. Real accountability means going fully public with everything you know, every lie, every scheme, every threat, every abuse of power you witnessed, tolerated, or assisted. If you want redemption, start with the truth, all of it. Until then, this isn't a moral awakening. It's simply the consequences of your own choice arriving right on schedule. Sincerely, Alyssa Milano. She's right. Marjorie Taylor Greene is nothing more than a white nationalist. She understands that her concepts of brains, idiotic, stupid, white supremacist based, see the ship is sinking. It's about to hit the iceberg, the Titanic. She's a grifter. That's it. She voted for an adjudicated rapist. She voted for a pedophile. She voted for a felon. She voted for a man that's so pathetic that he can't keep his own wedding vows. 5 officers died on January 6th. He asked for the execution of 5 black men in New York City, had dinner with the white supremacists in his own house, questioned the birth of Barack Obama, said Harris wasn't black. And now she cares? She's a coward. She's a goddamn coward. She's not a patriot. She saw a little bit of rough on the road, a little bit of bump, a little bit of turbulence, and she jumped off sick because she's a damn coward. And she's resigning one day after she gets her full pension. How brave. Adam Kinzinger is a patriot. She's a goddamn coward. Stop giving her roses. And for The View, screw you. She went on your show and you didn't ask her about January 6th or how she voted for a rapist or how she voted for a felon. You didn't ask her any hard questions. You smiled and cheered and says, oh, well, thanks for being on our side. She's not. She is a vulture. She is an opportunist. And she's going to do whatever her concepts of brains, dumbass white base does in Georgia, because that's who they are. She is a reflection of her district. Dumb, fake, white Pharisees. Have a good day.